Okay, had to reconnect here, and now we will start in a moment when everybody gets back online. Okay, thanks for rejoining. I had a little problem there with setup. Okay, I think we're okay now. Let's just check if we're recording. Okay, I think I have that straight now. Sorry for the interruption there. Okay, so here's our goal here to do some review, some questions to think about for the upcoming exam, what you're learning, hopefully, and being curious about. It's important to, and most people are, keeping up with MindTap chapter exercises. Hopefully not finding that too heavy load they are to reinforce, to keep up kind of curiosity about this study of nutrition. And hopefully you're finding ways to internalize, to make connections, to become intimate with this material, with this topic, the content, because it is absolutely every day for all of us. Choices we make, what we could see in our eating patterns, and optimize that as we see fit. So we have there's an announcement made yesterday, reminding everybody there's 3 weeks to go. This is week 8 or so, and hopefully it is enhancing your just general outlook on nutrition and the importance of all this in our lifestyle. Making connections, learning how we learn, maybe dispel some misconceptions that we've had about the topic or related topics. Next exam, 20th, July 20th to the 23rd. It may open it a little earlier than 19th. And this is just a review of those topics, and maybe to see how much in depth I'd like you to be aware of. Here's from our syllabus, and the arrow is where we are, so we don't have much to go. Um, um, uh, 4 more chapters, but we'll condense the life cycle, nutrition, the three chapters there, 15, 16, 17. Tell you what the high points are, because of course we're coming down to the end. And these are things that we've spoken about, learned about throughout the course, but applying them to various stages of human life. What's really key of importance of nutrition and lifestyle at 3 three segments, three timelines, three life cycle periods of life, and finally wrap up with a chapter 18, disease prevention. Again, not unlike topics and things we've spoken about throughout, especially from chapter 9. We've gone through there. And so a reminder about the four exams. They're 65%. Assignments in MindTap, keeping up with them, getting most of the points there, 25%, and the Blackboard assignments, another 10%. Here's the average from the last test. You see there, it was an average 84%. I did apply a bit of another curve there. I realize this is accelerated session this semester, 10 weeks instead of traditional, or 10 or 11 weeks. Traditionally, this is 15 weeks in a fall or spring semester. The range you see there, median, pretty good, 86.7, and most everybody fell pretty close to that, as you could see the relative standard deviation statistics there. For those that might be interested and are at the college for another semester or two or more, there's have set up a student research independent study. If you're interested in doing some research on campus, it's could be 2 semesters sequentially, and the topic and ideas I have, and I discussed with you how to go about some independent research. Challenges of healthy eating patterns for college students, and it would involve some literature review, some establishing a good survey, learn some rules and how to do that kind of thing, and then try to get some results and some recommendations around what data, what information, what analyses you can do around that. So this is a course that you can sign up for, but let me know and we could discuss if you're interested in doing that for the fall semester. This was an interesting viewpoint from Journal American Medical Association on vitamin and mineral supplements. So what we're studying these few weeks, and ask you to pull out some what you got from this viewpoint, whether it was convincing, what you think, you agree, disagree on the commentary. Interesting article, very well written, but very accessible to all of us to read through. This is of course one of the world-renowned medical journals. Physicians of all types read and try to publish in this journal. Very high ratings. Very difficult to get something published in. So I hope you had a good read on that. And if you didn't do that, please look into that and comment and share your thoughts. Let's see what everyone else is in the class is writing. So this the figure from our textbook says a lot. First of all, it mentions some of the major minerals there, 2 major minerals, sodium and potassium, among the 5 that we discussed, the major minerals. and a topic that's very important, and that's processing of food, processed food versus unprocessed food, or some call it real food. And you can see that there's a change and this comes from, you could find the reference of where these data come from. But unprocessed food, where it has a majority of potassium content, and then when it's processed, the majority becomes sodium. Both of these are essential minerals. They're major minerals, very important to our homeostasis, involved in water balance and other processes around cell membranes. But of course, there's a problem with most people getting too much of one and not enough of the other. Too much sodium, above the recommended 2.3 grams a day, and not enough of the potassium, which is one of those nutrients that often is lacking in many many people's eating patterns. And you see that when processed, sodium is used in many ways. It's a preservative for one. It's a taste enhancer, and it's often used as a additional additive in processed food. Again, applying our knowledge, being curious about about our eating pattern. Mentioned this before. This is from, you can ask anywhere you might dine. You can ask for, and sometimes it's not even in the menu, the content of a dish, of a food item, its nutritional facts, this kind of thing. So this is the Beyond Burger. This is plant-based burger. And you can see here, you look at the ingredients, very interesting. Of course, on ingredient labels, they're listed in mass order. So in a Beyond Burger, it's water, pea protein, etc. And if you look closely at these, they're all recognizable, maybe with the exception of one or two ingredients, methylcellulose, but you can probably make out what that is. It's really just a derivative of cellulose, the most common natural polymer, potato starch, etc. Natural materials. And then you could go a little further, look at the nutritional facts, and you should be able to get this. It's required of foods that are sold and defined to have this kind of data to present, and have people know what they have on their plate and consuming. And you can see it's laid out here: saturated fat, 25% of daily value, the calories of just a patty, carbohydrate, some fiber there. And we look at other, this is impressive. So iron, so they try to make this nutritionally sound as far as what one might expect from what's typically called a burger. So 22%, that's a good percentage. Some potassium, and no cholesterol, that's notable, and sodium, moderate amount for a serving. Compare that to a standard burger, that is a beef burger, and we can see that calories are higher. Why would that be? Because the total fat is about double, and almost 3 times as much saturated fat, and cholesterol, 50% of cholesterol, recommended cholesterol in a day. Sodium, 30%, pretty significant, and carbohydrate, and protein. So it has more protein when we compare it to the Beyond Burger, and might say, okay, that's higher quality protein because it's meat protein versus a plant protein. Okay, that's a discussion point. But it's we have these kind of tools to do this comparison and be curious about our foods and eating pattern. Uh, so this is something many of us experiment with, how to make uh, flavorful and acceptable as tofu. Tofu, relatively low in caloric content for a serving, depending on how you cook it. Um, whatever oils you might use, you'll add the fat to it. Sodium, very low, and most everything kind of low. So it's what you add to a tofu dish: calcium, a little bit, and some iron. So that's tofu. So the point here is you can explore and think about your eating pattern, what you want to include in a regular eating pattern, what you're curious about. Is this good for me to have on a regular basis, or maybe make it less regular and balance it with other meals? A tool that you can maybe remember, jot down, or Google it and put it on uh, uh, your save list there is My Food Diary. So similar to the tracking that we're doing within the course and the diet and wellness app. This one also is free. It has a premium part two, but it again is a database. It's pretty impressive, and you could track your eating pattern, do reports similar to what you're doing in the course, tracking nutrients and calories and all that sort of thing, and have goals and communicate with them also. They're very responsive. It's a small group that has recently put this together, a few years. It's a nice tool that you might be interested in checking out. Okay, so reviewing the objectives and these study guide outlines, ones I've highlighted. So the important things as you think about, so the B vitamins, we have a set of these B vitamins. They were initially labeled B1, B2, B3, etc. Got riboflavin, niacin. You don't have to know the numbers there, but you should, when you hear each of these, think of a major role or roles that they have. So B vitamins very much involved with being a cofactor or part of a coenzyme. A lot of it to do with energy, right? It's in you see them in the Krebs cycle. Some are in the glycolysis, but know that they have a major role in energy generation. Each of the chemical steps that are involved in these cycles to generate ATP, our energy source. Some have other roles like B6 and B12 involved with protein metabolism, amino acid conversions. So that's the B6 and B12, and how vitamins were identified, as maybe you remember from reading, is from their deficiencies. And through decades, scientists looked at what in a given diet, and most of this was done with animal models. If deficient, how does that affect normal metabolism, normal homeostasis? First vitamin is said to be vitamin C, discovered and investigated from sailors that were out at sea for many months, developing something that had to do with fragile capillaries and um, fragile gums and things to do with blood vessels. Eventually, it was seen that it was a devoid of not having citrus, running out of citrus, not having that on long journeys. That was a major source of vitamin C, and that disease was called scurvy, and that was and then additional B vitamins were discovered. It take quite a bit of time to establish functions that were affected by these particular, um, what we call now essential nutrients, right? Well, vitamins are essential nutrients. We don't make most of them. We don't make them in sufficient amounts. A couple of the B vitamins um, we make, or at least our microflora is said to make in some amounts. um, Biotin and some vitamin K made by gut bacteria and lower parts of the intestine or GI tract. When we talk about vitamins, we talk about, well, what foods do they come in, and what about their bioavailability? Remember, bioavailability, important aspect, and that is not only what's in a given food, but how much of it do we absorb and make use of in the body? Uh, the amount of vitamins or minerals in a food are not necessarily what we get into our body and use. And there's some synergies with absorbing nutrients. One notable one that you should remember is absorption of iron and helping along with vitamin C. Absorption of iron is enhanced with vitamin C. B12 is another one that um, is absorbed after a few different processes happen from acid in the stomach, enhancing the environment for the absorption of vitamin B12. Fat-soluble vitamins, general. Um, there's four of them. What's the difference between the fat-soluble, water-soluble vitamins, in addition to their chemical characteristics, that is soluble in aqueous environment versus in a non-aqueous environment or a hydrophobic environment. Vitamin A, D, E, and K. Where their sources? Um, what are they involved in? Generally, they're very strong antioxidants, as well as vitamin C has antioxidant activity. Vitamin A has multiple roles in healthy tissue reproduction, um, and of course vision. Vitamin D, you think of first thing we should think of is its with its partner calcium, very important in healthy bones. And vitamin E, you think of antioxidant, strong antioxidant, along with A. And K, we think of that's important in blood clotting. Free radical, free radicals, that's normal in our oxidative process of metabolizing all the reactions that we do in our body. There are some oxygen species that escape as free radicals, which can be dangerous or risky. They might react with tissue, and that's where antioxidants help out. They quench the reactivity of these free radicals. So it's vitamin E activity, A, and also C. So antioxidant activity, very important. And vitamins in general also act as cofactors to make reactions happen. Okay. And the role of water and major minerals. So there's a list of water and the major minerals that were discussed in the chapter, and the ones that are major. That means it doesn't mean they're more important than any others. That just means that they're in much higher concentrations, the recommended amounts, and their presence in the body. So very much water and some of these, the so-called electrolytes, keep water balance inside, outside of the cells, maintain acid-base balance in the blood. So these electrolytes have multiple purposes. The role of kidneys in maintaining homeostasis. The kidney is a very important organ and gets signals from many different other organs to say reabsorb more water. Don't let those electrolytes go. Or there's an abundance of water. Let's just let water be excreted at the same by the same token. Don't reabsorb the sodium or the chloride that ions that are being filtered through the kidneys. And those minerals in lower concentrations, still very, very important. Iron, iodine, zinc, copper, manganese, fluorine, chromium, and molybdenum. Some of these are parts of enzymes. For instance, the chromium and molybdenum, not discussed a whole lot, and magnesium involved in some enzymes that have a metal or non-metal, in some cases, part of them. Iron, very important. It's carried around and recycled and conserved. Of course, it has a major role in hemoglobin and muscle. Iodine, similar, very important in balance and organ signaling, and the deficiency involved with the iodine is goiter. See that term? That's the deficiency of iodine. Zinc has various roles in enzymes and also involved with insulin, working of insulin and production of insulin on the pancreas. Fitness, activity, nutrients, body adaptations. This is interesting chapter. Much of it is we've heard before. Some new things that we put together with what we're discussing in our nutrients. For instance, generation of ATP, what's all involved there? What are the nutrients involved in maintaining production of ATP? And so that's glucose maintenance. We know enzymes involved there. Where does glucose come from? Carbohydrate, the principal source of glucose and energy. We can store glucose as glycogen. And what's the process of with anaerobic generation of energy versus longer term aerobic generation of energy, and using up available glucose, using glycogen, and then where do we get the next source of fuel is starting to metabolize fat, using that to produce ATP through acetyl acetyl chemistry, and but we can't make glucose from fat except for the backbone glycerol. And finally, protein, a misconception of using protein for energy. It's not only in a starvation instance. Protein, of course, is important for the athlete, but not for energy. That's for building muscle. The role of antioxidants is important in physical activity because just in general, especially in intense physical activity, we're using a lot of oxygen. We create oxygen-free radicals. We need antioxidants to be present to avoid any tissue damage. This I'm just mentioning again, good study guides here. They're called the Study IT test, and it's in the additional resources folder. And they look like this, really good stuff to review. Nicely presented, condensed of what you read in activities you did in MindTab. Here I'll show and I'll post these. Also, these are critical thinking questions that, some of them in some sort will show up as the short essay questions. For example, mentioned there about bioavailability. What does that mean? How could we, how do we determine that? So it's we had a similar question earlier in the course. Vitamins are not considered energy yielding, but they do play a role in metabolism. What can you say about that? B vitamins, where are they involved? Of course, they're cofactors in many of the steps especially in the Krebs cycle to generate ATP. Niacin and riboflavin are examples of that. They directly make molecules that are important in the production of energy. They make the NADH molecule and the FAD molecule, very important in energy production. And fat-soluble vitamins, there's little blurbs on each of them that you have here. And it's good to look at these questions here. How is vitamin D unique from other vitamins? Vitamin D, it is in some foods naturally. Of course, some foods are fortified. Milk is fortified with vitamin D, i.e. it's not there originally, but it's put there. Vitamin D, we get exposure to sun, and it's made in our skin from a derivative from cholesterol. That's where a lot of our vitamin D come from, but also goes through 3 steps in a few different organs to make the active vitamin D. So these are good questions, and the answers are in the documents also to check yourself. Some thinking questions, chapter 11. What's the difference? Fat-soluble vitamins, how they contribute to overall health. So think about which ones are the D vitamins and think a little bit about how they're unique compared to the water-soluble vitamins, A, D, E, and K. And water and major minerals. I think talked a little bit about this already. Explain the concept of obligatory water excretion to explain how fluid balance is regulated in the individual. So obligatory water for excretion, we need a certain amount to get rid of waste products, right? So that's where we, being insistence, and we try to remind ourselves, stay hydrated. A lot of it's because of this. We need a certain amount to just get rid of the waste products, the excess urea, the excess amines, ammonia that we want to get rid of as urea, and other waste products of metabolism. A bit about water and how it's connected with our blood volume and blood pressure, and several steps of how that's maintained, modulated, and renin is the enzyme, very important in working through some steps in production of ADH to retain water, or aldosterone to retain sodium and excrete potassium. These are ways that we regulate the blood volume and therefore blood pressure. And some good multiple choice questions to review. Stages in iron deficiency. So think about too little iron, too much iron. How do we diagnose that? What's the problem with that? Some of these, especially iron and iodine, they have this recycling to make sure it's such a critical nutrient that it's maintained. Trace minerals. And the review sheets for chapter 14. And some questions to think about. So these are reminders we read in this chapter, the importance of physical activity. What does that do? What is raising the heart rate to at least 2 times, 2.5 times? And what is that related to? And how could that diagnose or understand a condition one is in? I posted this. This is similar to the JAMA paper that you've read. It kind of corroborates what that opinion was, citing some additional um, studies and the same kind of thinking that vitamin and mineral supplements, they could be very important. It could be, we could have, depending on our eating pattern, uh, we may have deficiencies, and we may, if we don't want to alter or supplement food in our eating pattern, then maybe a supplement is helpful. But a lot of marketing around vitamin and mineral supplements, and we may be just in the end making expensive urine. But in uh, uh, some cases, supplements are important and justified. Suggested and had this posted a way to be thinking about this, to do some graphic organizing on your own. This is just what is it, a Word document that's there if you want to use, or just by hand to review these vitamins and minerals that we're trying to get a handle on, at least know a bit about their main function. And they certainly don't only have one function, most of them, but they do have a major function. Pantothenic acid. So that is part of CoA, enzyme CoA, which is important in that gap when we go from the glycolysis to the Krebs cycle, making acetyl-CoA. So here we could see the B1, 2, 3. There was a B4, but that didn't keep its vitamin status. B9, B12. So there's gaps there. Those were vitamins that were given a number, but then didn't make the cut in verifying its vitamin status. So this was, you might want to put something together like this. There's, or just have resources to think about these. Now, most of the way I'll check your understanding of things is not necessarily just ask something that you could see on a table like this, but uh, but some questions that would involve knowing some details around each of these nutrients. Here's a diagram from the book that shows where all these water-soluble vitamins are involved. You see the thiamine there. This is a niacin, and let's see, riboflavin is here. Riboflavin is here. That's pantothenic acid is for the CoA, etc. Is B12. Where are these involved in all important processes? B6, B12 over here with the amino acids. Okay, just a few example questions. Or reactions. Just had this up. I just want to make sure that you have these vocabulary in mind. What's a unique feature? What's a unique feature of vitamin? Well, it's not inorganic. It's organic. It does. Some of them do contain nitrogen. Um, okay. Which one uniquely acts as a hormone? And that's vitamin D. Newborns cannot make initially because they don't have the enhancement of microflora in the gut, is vitamin K. So that the first dose is given at birth, typically with a shot. The rate at which a vitamin is absorbed and used by the body, that's the bioavailability definition. Most of our weight is water. So iron has many important functions in the body. It's carried around in the bloodstream with transferrin. This is in muscle, and hemoglobin is iron is in that protein, very important for exchanges of gases, oxygen, and CO2. Coenzyme, FAD, is formed from riboflavin, which is not among the features of fat-soluble vitamins. So fat-soluble vitamins, just like anything that can't be dissolved or just carried right in the bloodstream, that would be problematic, require bile. Remember, bile helps to solubilize and bring it through the lymph system until it's in a form that it can be absorbed and moved efficiently in the bloodstream. Yes, fat-soluble vitamins are typically in fatty part of oily fat or oily parts of food, and so it's not transported and permanently stays in the liver or adipose. That would be problematic if we had um, uh, permanent reservoirs of fat-soluble vitamins in the liver and the adipose. That's not a good thing. That would contribute to fatty liver and maybe extra chemistry we don't want happening with these potentially reactive molecules. But we do store, temporarily at least, vitamin A in the liver. Vitamin involved in intensely in amino acid metabolism. That's B6. A person that shuns dairy and spends most of their time indoors would likely benefit from a supplement of vitamin D. Good question there. Vitamin A has some very important functions. Yes, teeth and bones. Yes, involved in visual pigment with rhodopsin. And skin and mucous membranes, but not with blood clotting. Deficiency of folate, should remember this one. A folate supplement is typically given to pregnant women to maintain their levels of this very important folic acid, B vitamin, involved with normal nerve development, and results in a condition called spina bifida. It's a neural tube defect. So think about which these are other of the deficiencies: vitamin C, scurvy, thiamine, beriberi is the disease. Is wet and dry. It's a condition of maldevelopment and repair of organ surfaces, and beriberi. Thiamine deficiency and pellagra is a niacin deficiency. Usually we see dried skin could become became very serious with prolonged deficiency of niacin, pellagra. Acetyl-CoA. So I mentioned this is not a real popular B vitamin, water-soluble vitamin. It's pantothenic acid. Which of the following is not true about Gatorade? So I don't know if this was in the chapter. I just threw this in here, being an alumni of University of Florida Gators. It does have electrolytes to make water absorption more faster. It was formulated from a study of the sweat of Florida football players back in the 60s, and it is named for the University of Florida Gator football team, so all are true. It's currently not still owned by the University of Florida. It was sold a few times. But probably was the first popular electrolyte replacement energy drink. Which of the following is not known to be involved with healthy bones or teeth? And that's vitamin E. Vitamin E is more known as an antioxidant. The other three are involved with healthy bone and teeth, also with calcium and phosphorus and some protein in keeping those bones and teeth healthy. Electrolyte and water balance in the body maintained by which of these chemical processes, and that's osmosis. Again, bioavailability question, what's meant by bioavailability? It's not just what's in the food, it's not just what we consume, it's the amount absorbed and subsequently used by the body. So that means it has to be available when we ingest the food, and it needs to be in a certain amount in the food. So that's where we mentioned back about quality protein. The protein needs to be bioavailable. Okay, function as a hormone, vitamin D. Alpha-tocopherol, that's a precursor for vitamin E, vitamin K, and this is just a phytochemical that may have some important nutritional value, but not completely understood. Electrolytes. So many of our minerals are considered electrolytes. They are charged. They're anions or cations, and we should relate some of our chemistry. Nutrition is multidiscipline with chemistry involved, and they're not fat soluble. But they do the other things. They attract water, they're charged, and they can carry electric current. So that's the importance of having balance across membranes, because it balances the water. The uh, the concentrations of the ions on one side, inside or outside inside and outside of the cells, maintain the appropriate water tension and concentration of those ions. Which of the following explains why B vitamin deficiencies lead to lack of energy? It's so it's not because they are a source of gay cows, definitely not. They're not involved with absorption of carbohydrates or fat. They're not involved with oxygen, but they are essential as part of coenzymes. The vitamin E acts as an antioxidant. Pituitary hormone that regulates kidney uh, retention. So it's really the only one that we mention much in our travels through these chapters, and that's the ADH, antidiuretic hormone. Cortisone involved with stress management, pain, etc. Epinephrine, kind of energy. Okay, that's a repeat. So we mentioned these. Remember, so everything we're considering, and not just the nutrients themselves, but the the organs, the hormones, the interactions that are all involved in these processes. So we're getting insight into a lot of things so we could put together, make connections, and have better understanding. So, good luck getting through the rest of this and the exam 3 coming up soon, and that's the 20th to the 22nd. Probably open it on the 19th. You'll see some messages relating to that. In the interim, let me know if you have any concerns, questions, email, could discuss things as well.